He leads you into this chamber where already seated are some of the council members that you already know who they are. They'd be pretty well known as they're voted in for the most part. You see, of course, Eleander brings the corpses in with you guys. Manistrad Copperlocks sits to the kind of top side of the room. At the back, you can see like a bit of a differently adorned chair, and it's a little bit more kind of regal looking seat. There is Ida Owland, a older looking woman with a pretty simple green tunic on. Manistrad still kind of kitted up as she's pretty well always ready to be mining, this kind of red, dusty and scruffled hair. And then there's Anders, a much younger council member, the youngest, and you would all know him as he was voted in because he's just a popular supporter of the fishermen. He's got his own fishing ships. He's got like a fleet. Really popular traditionalist. Eleander escorts you in, takes his seat.
Have I been in this room before?
You have not.
I'm gonna just walk up and attempt to plop on the chair and just like arms out and make myself comfortable, like very comfortable. Kind of like wiggle my butt in the chair. Feel good. Do they like react to my
Yeah, so Anders kind of like sees you do that and he like kind of gives you a questioning look, and then as you like, you know, you clearly like get your boisterous movements in, he just kind of like smiles at you. And it's just this like, you just can't help but smile back, you know? He's just got that look
I
to
was
him.
smiling when I sat down.
He just kind of like looks over at you and he just goes, pretty relaxed for such a interesting moment in our history.
Yeah, well, I don't know much about the Saltmarsh history, but busy day as any.
So, I've been woken up for this. Seems like it's quite a night. Sorry to have to bring you all into this, but Eleander seems to think that it's important. So, what do you all have to tell us?
I'll clear my throat. Will the rest of the council be joining us, including Galen?
Oh, I'm sure he will. We've sent somebody to grab him.
Well, shouldn't we wait for the rest of the council to show up before explaining our story? Doesn't seem like much point in repeating ourselves.
We'll fill him in. It's okay. Don't listen, guys. Just take a deep breath, relax. I mean, be a little bit more like this guy. Take it easy. We just want to know what happened. We're trying to assess the situation. We've got a couple of dead kids that we have to put into perspective.
I will explain what happened at the docks the same way I explained it to Elander.
So kind of like leaving out some of the details there?
What details am I leaving out?
We didn't talk about the black water.
I did. I said there was ink leaking out of them.
Out of them, but not like creeping up to the dock.
He didn't notice it.
I didn't see it.
Fair enough.
I only included what I seen. Like I didn't hear like the wet slaps hit the dock. Yeah.
I will while he's explaining the story and as like the council is deliberating, doing whatever, I'll lean into Ida and I will whisper to Ida about the black ink, the water going still, and like I'll just fill her in directly.
Okay. As you approach her, before you do that, she kind of turns to you and she says, Milo, I understand that we have a rapport. Now is time to be a little bit serious and take in your surroundings. Look at where you are right now. Do you have something to tell me?
About the docks, yeah.
Okay. We're with the council, in the council chambers. If you say it to me, while I appreciate that you trust me, I assure you, you can trust everybody here.
Sure. Sure. Everything that Grix said is true, but before all of this had happened, the water had... There's something going on with the water at the docks. Eerily still, there was black streaks coming from the ocean leading up to the docks just before the creatures emerged from the water.
And at this Manistrad, the top of the table kind of like slams her fist down on the table, and she points at Ida and Anders. She says, that is that black water. I told you, this is why we need to switch. Those boats are at risk. And now it is here. What now? And Anders, kind of like smooth as butter, just kind of like looks at her. Look, I've had hundreds, thousands of voyages across 20 ships. The Blackwater is a myth. Surely, what you saw was a trick of the light. Do you think that's a possibility?
I may interject. I didn't see the black water either. So
I mean, a trick of the light. I mean, how much light could there have been at the docks at that time? Nothing.
well, the lanterns on the boats were all lit.
Sure, but I mean, how much more tricks anybody else at the docks surely could have noticed? Peaches, Feyorn, Wyatt.
I'm sorry, I didn't see anything except all of a sudden there were fish people crawling up onto the docks.
I saw it.
Yeah, I was heading out. I didn't catch nothing. Sorry, Milo.
Hey, I saw it.
No offense, Feyorn, but you know what? Never mind that. What is it that you saw?
Well, the water got really quiet, and the whitecaps on the waves disappeared, and yeah, it was like this black water creeping up on the docks, and all of a sudden these creatures here came up and started attacking us. We're very friendly.
And you see Manistrad kind of like kicking back, like smiling at this point. Okay. Well, if that's what you saw, we have two people who saw some shadows, rolling around in the water.
I mean, it's nighttime. How would you see a shadow?
Again, no offense, Feyorn. Nobody here thinks that you would lie. I just think maybe it was a trick of the light. It seems a little silly. The Blackwater.
Is there still like remnants of black ink on them?
No, so what came out of them pulled off the dock. And it almost like it was like
It crawled away.
forcing
Okay.
it. Yeah.
Does he seem like he's covering up? Yes.
Go ahead and give me an insight check again. 12? I will say that kind of in combination of like the reputation that Anders has, and he's like a young dude, I will say that he's. You kind of get the vibe that he's like protecting, like he's a traditionalist. Like it seems like his goal is he's protecting that, the kind of beating heart of Saltmarsh, like the ships coming in and out, and he's kind of like vouching for the water, essentially.
So he's being dismissive, essentially.
Yeah, he's dismissing.
I mean, Anders, forgive me if this seems rude, but you asked for what happened. You asked for the details, and that's what we're giving you. Even in Grix's rundown, he mentions the ink leaving the bodies of these creatures and going back into the ocean. This wasn't. There's no tricks. Nobody's playing tricks. The stillness of the water. Was there something that went into the water? A spell went into the water, and it just was like absorbed by the water. You said.
Yeah, like the guiding bolt, the light.
Yeah.
As soon as it hit the water, just.
Okay.
Yeah. Generally, if I were to cast a guiding bolt, it would be seen until it disappears, which is about over 100 feet. And this disappeared as soon as it hit or touched the water, as if it absorbed it. That's not natural.
So Ida chimes in at this point. She says, okay. Everybody, just think for a second here. I'm sure you've all heard rumors of what a black water out in the sea has quote unquote done to vessels. And nobody has really seen or heard of anyone who has seen results of the black water. If it's real, the likeliness that it would just stop in to our city as though it had a goal, it does seem a little strange. I'm not discounting what you're saying, but it does seem a little bit odd, don't you think?
Did you say that there were dead children?
And she kind of like looks to Milo and then like looks to Feyorn. Yes, and they've been identified. We spoke to their mother. And we did learn a little bit about where they were just a few days ago. They went to the mansion just out of town. And they hadn't been seen for a few days. Their mother just assumed that they were out on some trip. But that's where they said they were going. And now this is what they look like. And she kind of like opens like two casket-sized boxes that she had they had kind of like pushed back at the back of the chamber. She like drags them out and opens these two caskets, and inside you see these like pretty well decayed bodies. A boy and a girl, and the boy has that symbol kind of carved into his head, and the flesh is bloated and pale.
From where I'm sitting, can I get a glimpse of the marking? I don't want to get up. Like, I don't want to move to the casket.
Yeah, it's like wide out in the open.
Okay, do I recognize this marking at all?
You do not.
Okay.
To everyone, it's kind of just, it's a weird carving right on the forehead.
Does anyone live at that mansion?
So the mansion is another kind of thing that people would have had rumors about. A town like Saltmarsh, rumors are abound. And the most prevailing rumor is, there's a couple of them. One of them is that there was like some weird alchemist that lived up there that was trying to be able to turn things into gold. But for the most part, the biggest one that goes around is that the mansion is haunted and it's abandoned and kind of broken down. Most people try to avoid it when they make their way out of the city, out of the town. So, and she kind of closes the caskets up. It may be unfortunate circumstance. Eleander seems to think it a little bit fortunate that you've all been kind of dragged in tonight. However, we need to look into this quietly. We'll be taking care of the mother, keeping her safe and fed, but also out of earshot of any of the townsfolk. We are going to need you all to do the same. And given that you're already in on this, we have, I suppose, decided, without Gellen's input, that you'll have to perform a little task for us.
Shouldn't the whole council be here if you're going to vote on something?
And he should be. But given that he's not, a vote has already been taken.
So you're expecting us to go tonight? You want us to go like right now?
No. You'll go tomorrow.
Okay, so if we can go tomorrow, then why can't you wait till tomorrow to make the vote? Wait for everybody else to get here.
Well, it's 3-1 anyways.
Who said no?
And Manistrad kind of like looks over at Peaches and just says, I tried. Milo, I'm sorry, but it really is fortunate. The timing. You've been talking about wanting to do something like this, and the circumstances couldn't be better.
So what is it that you guys are asking us to do?
We need you to look into the house.
Okay. And I'll look to Anders. And if we bring back our findings, will those two be an illusion or a trick?
Oh, I see what you're doing. Listen, I am on your side. I didn't mean any offense with what I was saying. You have to admit, if somebody told you that the Blackwater came right up into a dock and targeted people standing on the dock in the middle of the night, you have to admit that would be really weird, right?
Yeah. You know what? Apologies. It has been a weird night. Yeah, you're right. That is weird.
And look, if you find what you find, and there's some sort of evidence, maybe you get a jar of this stuff. Maybe they're making it in that house. Who knows? Bring it back, and I am open to changing my mind about this. It just, I mean, we've sent thousands of voyages into those waters for the deepest fish in the sea. And nobody has said anything. We've not lost a single man or woman or ship.
And confirm.
Have you ever
Thank
lost
you.
a child before?
No.
Strange things happen all the time.
In particular tonight.
With all due respect, Mr. Anders, sir, completely agree with you on all the points you said thus far, but don't you find it a little odd to see these creatures running about? You ever seen something like this before?
I mean, we've seen something a little similar. Not quite like this, though.
Whereabouts?
Well, the deeper you go, the weirder the things are you see. I mean, it's just reports. Nobody's ever really brought anything back. But we've seen something similar to this.
Just a suggestion. Maybe you should cross-reference with your guys with the face of these things. It was just little idea for you.
Oh,
We
I
might
plan to.
also want to increase the guard at the dock as suggested earlier. I understand it's not something that's normally necessary, but obviously these enemies, these creatures, came out of nowhere, whether or not they're related to the Blackwater. I would suggest posting a couple extra guard.
I will, and so Eleander kind of chimes in. I will certainly be doing that. We're pulling some extra shifts tonight, and we will keep that dock occupied and all the docks all night, every night, until something gets figured out. So, to you, Grix, you'll be getting your wish. And if I'm being honest, we probably should have taken heat a little bit earlier.
Yep. Sometimes me and Greg, we know what we're talking about down there. It's almost as if we work down there every day.
And at this, coming through the door, dressed
Oh, there he is.
to the nines, in like kind of this like long, it looks almost like a mix between a bathrobe and almost like a king's robe. This like smooth white fur draping coat covering this like blue vest, and he had enough time to apparently put on like a nice couple pieces of jewelry. Sorry I'm late. I got a little wrapped up in the happenings. Is this all of the crew that we had recommended to us? Bit of an odd-looking bunch. Not you, though, Grix. You're looking great. Were there any objections? Did anyone push back?
Well, are you okay with me taking the day off tomorrow to go deal with going to this mansion that the rest of these guys want me to go to with us or with my companions here?
Of course. You can take as many days as you'd like. We'll stay on top of it.
Well, you make sure my shack, if anybody needs a place to stay, well, they're more than welcome.
I wouldn't call it a shack. Come on, I treat you quite well.
Well, you're right. It's more like a medium-sized broom closet, which I'm very appreciative of, by the way. Thank you very much, Mr. Primewater.
Anytime. So, does anyone have any questions? Or were they already asked?
We're just expected to go investigate. Should we be expecting anything?
Oh. It seems as though it's a mystery. So, expect the unexpected, boy. Upon your safe return, so Ida kind of chiming in here. Upon your safe return, with anything, any information, even if you tell us that the house is empty, and you can prove it, you will be paid handsomely.
Can we get that in writing?
Unfortunately, we need to keep this off the record books for now. However, you will have access to whatever provisions we can supply you with. We don't have much that we wouldn't have to conscript from a shop. And keep in mind, we can't be doing that because that needs to go on the books. So, I'm sure Manistrad can come up with rope, crowbars, a pickaxe or two. We can provide you rations.
How long do you expect us to be gone for?
Maybe a day. If you're not back in 3 days, we will send somebody. I would like you all, though, to convene quietly outside of town. Milo will meet you with your provisions.
Okay.
All right. Well, I guess it's time for us to get some shut-eye then, eh?
About damn time.
Yes, and I must reiterate, do not tell anyone what you're doing. If word gets out, we will figure out who leaked the information. And I'm serious when I say this, and she looks at you, Milo. Whoever, doesn't matter who you are, whoever leaks information on this will be exiled from the city.
I'll zip my mouth and pretend to throw Anders the key.
And he kind of instinctually just like grabs it and like looks in his hand. Because I get a pretty good feeling you guys are going to be okay. Mr. Confidence over here.
What does that mean?
Hopefully, carry that forward.
Gotcha.
And hey, look, if you make it back, from what I understand, after looking into you all in the last few minutes, I hear that you're pretty good on a ship. We might have a job for you elsewhere if this goes well.
I like how that sounds. I could use a little bit of elsewhere, if you know what I mean.
Sure. I like your style. All right. Well, and when you do come back, you're going to be meeting at my place. So head on over with whatever you've got. Try to be discreet and meet me at my home. I'll make sure to be there.
Why are we meeting at your home? Why wouldn't we meet back here?
You see, it was kind of my idea to send you all out there, so I want to make sure that I personally take care of you after the fact. And payment can't come out of the council books. It's going to come out of me.
I'll get up off my comfy chair. Well, thank you so much for your hospitality. We'll make sure to get it all done. I'm sure we won't be back for not even a day.
I'll hold you to it. We'll see you in about, 36 hours or so.
Sounds good to me. Let's head on out, folks. It's time to get some shut-eye.